to be honest. But anyway, so like the two of you that are here, well, I guess the three of you, do you guys kind of understand what I was looking for in the chart? Like when I had posted it originally, and I talk about like when you see a lot of, let me just share my screen since I'm recording this. Hold on.
Yeah, you mentioned the swing failure pattern and getting people stopped out, but that's a bit of a confusing concept to me because you're saying that the people that are long put their stop loss there, so they get stopped out. So to me, wouldn't a larger short automatically follow that? Like, wouldn't a drop in price because all the people that went long just got screwed? How does that translate into
Well,
a jump in price
people
fall?
do short the lows. I mean, that's what, what they that is kind of what happens. Like you will see large shorts open up at the lows like that, and that's like another thing that gets me excited to take like basically take along. Like essentially like what you're looking for is you're looking for the liquidity to be taken below the lows. Like again, just give me a second. Hold on. Oh no, we're good. Let's see here. There. Should be able to see my screen now, right?
Wait a minute, just loading now. Yep.
Yep.
So I was looking at the hourly chart, and essentially, so again, you see like all of these wicks, like you see how well this area was defended, how many times it was tested. You hit your golden pocket like perfectly right here, right from this low. So essentially, you're looking at this swing low to the current swing high. Came back down, perfect test to your golden pocket. So you know this is a really strong level. And then you get your retest, which if you remember my previous chart, you go back in my previous chart, and that was the key level, right? Remember, I don't know if you guys remember me pointing that out, but essentially you had like a pretty like a 15-minute level up there at the top. So this is like really low time frame trading, but that was like your high. Then you get a big move down. So like when I see a move like this coming down to retest, like once you start retesting back into an area like this, so like there's other things that I go like that I look for obviously, but this gives me an idea. And again, like I've been trading Bitcoin for so like a long time now. Like I've taken lots of trades, and you just see this, like this happens like pretty frequently. So essentially, again, like when you see an area like this being defended really well, a lot of wicks, a lot of tests into this zone, and then you get a big reaction off of it. Typically the next time that you come down here, right? So like here's a little bit of a heads up that I'll show you that happens. On this candle right here, you see how you got another really strong reaction when you come back to test like into this zone. Do you guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you see like you don't, again, like you're hanging around here, right? You're not getting like a strong reaction back out of this base area. Like it's just another kind of heads up saying, hey, like and that's why I posted. And like the timing, anytime you have like when you're around daily open, like I always look like that's just it's always a really good time for volatility. And like that's a time for moves. Like you'll see a lot of pretty important moves that come around daily open sometimes. Like that's when you look for activity to pick up, for the first like 20-30 minutes or so, which is basically what we got today. But again, like I had said, look at all of the activity here, all of the defense, price pushes up, come back down here. I'm looking for this low to get taken. And basically, like, that's what we've got so far, right? So, like, I'll tell you that I've already hit take profit 1 on my trade because we came up into yesterday's value area low. So the previous day value area low. So that's to me, like, that's already a take profit 1. Stop loss is at entry, you know, which again is below. So, like, if I go into a lower time frame, right? So we took the low here. So here is your low. Came down, took the low, pretty nice reaction off of it. And then we actually came back and back tested that exact low, right? And it held and you got a nice response off of it. So far, I mean, what I don't want to see is this get taken. If this gets taken, then we're probably heading, we're probably heading like 45K. Maybe even lower. So like, as far as my trade entry, I hit take profit 1. Here we are, we're actually moving up, and stop loss at entry, and I'm just gonna let whatever happens. But typically off of these types of trades, like I do think there's a pretty good chance that you see kind of like what I was looking for. And obviously, like, this is drawn on an hourly, so it's like really spaced out, right? But this is essentially what I was looking for, is a loss of the level, a loss of your low, and a reclaim, which you can see where you have a reclaim, right? So we took the low. Hell, again, like I said, you even back tested the low. You don't always see that. And then now you're getting a nice move to the upside, right? So like, again, we took the low, come back, we reclaimed the low, and like now I'm looking for price to push to the other side. So like, what I'll say is that if you're not in a trade already, it's pretty iffy to kind of get into a trade now, so you're late to the game. But again, like, if you go back and look at the chart, look at what I was talking about, this exactly what I said. I mean, not that I'm like patting myself on the back, but like like when you see the same setup over and over and over again, like, like you have a pretty fair idea of like how you're gonna play it, like what you think what the outcome is going to be. So like, do we end up pushing back up to, so like for me, I would start pulling, like, I would just start looking at other levels. So like 47K, and this is not, so I actually made a new chart for this. So is this the one I want? Oh, which, by the way, look at dot. Right on the, that's right on the 618. This just happened. I'm actually in a dot trade right now too. Like, right, like, so again, so like, I'll tell you, with alts, when Bitcoin is moving, alts react more drastically, right? So a lot of times, like, you have better RR trading alts when, like, so like, as we were taking the low, dot was coming down to a golden pocket. I mean, that's like all day you look for that, So like, when Bitcoin is taking the setup that I want and that I'm looking for, and I see other like specific alts coming down to really key levels, like, I'll try to take those trades too. It's kind of hard because like I'm doing them simultaneously, right? But again, like, look at this. You see this come back down to this level, so you have your high, you have an hourly here, like, you can, like, this is a pretty big, like, pretty important, like, SR level. It's like right around here, so come back and test this golden pocket. Nice reaction so far. So that's like another quick scalp type trade. And Bitcoin's on
your Bitcoin graph, where, like, when you set that, where do you set your stop loss? Because there's no like close foundation. Do you just kind of set it,
like, when you're taking these types of trades, I'm waiting for a reaction. Like, I don't preset anything. So like, I'm actually looking, like, I have some other stuff that I look at, in order to help me like determine like if this reaction, if this is the type of reaction that I want to see, right? And like, so like you're not like setting limit orders here because you, like I had said in there, I had said this in Hangout Room, is that I think it was Hangout Room or Bitcoin Charts, one or the other. But like I don't set limit orders here because it could, like, price could just nuke straight down. You know what I mean? So like you don't set limits for these. Like for these trades, I market order, like I mark it in 100% of the time. Like I never set limit orders because you can get wrecked that way. You know, so like because I want to see confirmation that what I'm looking for has a higher probability of playing out, if that makes sense. So like I'm looking at things like open interest, I'm looking at things like net longs, net shorts, which I'll talk about in the future. That's like a whole different thing. But like there's things that I look at in conjunction with the move happening to give me some confluence saying, hey, like this is a good, like, get in now. You know, so like this is out
But
of
I
all
mean,
the
bottom line is you gotta be there.
what's that?
Bottom line is you gotta be, you know, at the screen.
1000%. Yeah, you don't preset for this. Like, and again, like, you know, because you don't know where the, like, how deep this stop run gets. You know, you don't know. Like I mean, I've like tried to preset this like before, you know, and like I've been, you know, you get stopped out. Like it's just not, like, I stopped doing that a long time ago. But like, look at the reaction we're getting. This is the kind of reaction that you want to see off of that, like off of this specific type of trade. And again, like, do you see how like you don't want to come back down here now? That's weak. That's like really weak. If like we come back down to these levels, like I would be less prone to want to buy like a retest of this area again. You know, like this is what you want to see. So like, can we pull back and kind of like try to like change this structure? So you see how this is bearish structure now, right? On the 50-minute time frame. So if you're high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So like you see how like this is very bearish market structure on this time frame. So lower low, could we be making a lower high here and then roll over? Absolutely. But that's why like I already hit take profit 1. So that's another thing that I haven't talked about that is going to be coming, like market structure in general is really important to understand too, because like on this time frame, again, 15-minute is like, that's a high enough time frame when you're taking like an intraday type trade like this. But again, bearish market structure. So you put in your high, right? You have your low, or your lower high. I'm sorry. So you have your high, your low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, like until we start coming back above like this area. It's really like, you know, like 46,500. So we start pushing. If we're able to do that, I think that we can actually come up to, you know, maybe even come back up, and I mean, maybe this ends up even being a low, you know. But like, that's one thing that I do want to stress is understanding your market structure too, and not getting like overly excited about this. Like this is playing out exactly how I would like it to play out. But again, I understand that like the market structure that we're in, and you know, like it doesn't, like, until we basically flip this market structure back to being like bullish, then I'm cautious. That makes sense. So that's like one thing that I don't think I've actually talked about before yet, is market structure. But damn, a good reaction so far. I mean, I'm quite happy with my trade, I'm not gonna lie.
Where was your first take profit then?
So my first take profit, holy shit, my dot trade is absolutely murdering right now.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, that's a big trade too.
Also, another question I wanted to ask is about your alerts, because if you're setting your alerts at the actual, I mean, you know, unless you're monitoring it manually, if you just set TradingView alerts, sometimes it doesn't even hit that alert and it's really reacting.
Well,
you know?
when I had my screen up, but my alert, I don't set my alert at this level. I set it higher.
No wonder. Okay.
So like if I go back to an hourly, like my alert was at these lows. You don't have to like set it here. By then you're probably gonna miss it. You know, like you want to be in position already. See, we hit 46K. Like that's pretty good. I mean, that's damn good. off of this. But anyway, I set my alerts like right below these lows.
Brilliant.
So now we're probably like, now we're like this is starting to look pretty good. But like I said, like we have to reclaim, like we have to push like 46.5 before I get like that happy about it, you know, because like we're still, even on an hourly, you have your high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? So like on the hourly, technically like you want to be above this high, 46.7, you know? So it's like, even on the hourly, this is bearish market structure. So it's just something to be careful about. Like just
Yeah.
on like this particular section, right?
Okay. Because my first take profit, if I took your trade, would have been at the 0.05 fibs, which is just.
I mean, here's the thing, like when you're in a trade, like you take profit where you're going to take profit. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like everybody has their own setups, but for me, like once we hit previous day value area low, that was like, and that's an important level for me to say, okay, like I'm gonna take a little bit off here, move my stop loss up, because at that point, if we come back down to my stop or my entry, which is below like where the SFP took place, right? It's like I would rather just take profit one, get stopped out on the rest of the trade, and reevaluate. You know, maybe I jump back in if I see some strength, step in, but I like that's my philosophy on taking these types of trades. So like I like quick wins, you know. So like when you're taking these specific type of trades, because these are, I wouldn't say that they're risky, but they're not as easy as they sound, in my opinion. Like it takes, like you have to really have a bit of experience in order to like understand on these, like how this works. You know what I'm saying? Like this is I'd say like this is more of a difficult, it's not like too difficult, but you gotta have more understanding than like I've talked about so far, you know. But like that's why I wanted to,
But it's
like
100%.
What's that?
It's 100% play for you.
It's 100% what for me?
It's 100% a scalp play for you until you can take profit and then set it to
Essentially,
set your
yeah.
stop
Like I'm
loss
like
to
being
entry.
real. Like I don't give it like a ton of leeway, especially if I see it. You know, again, like if I see the reaction, I get in, and you know it starts to roll over again. Like I'm not gonna just let it roll over on me. You know what I mean? Like it's again, it's like there's other things that I look at that that give me insight to say, hey, like there is strength showing up, like there are buyers showing up at the you know, at these levels. Now is the time to, you know, consider getting in. But anyway, let me look at my sol trade for, or I'm sorry, my dot trade. Oh my god, hold on a second, let me look at this. Oh baby, that
do you
is
remember
unreal. Oh man, just let me look, just, I'm sorry, let me just 1 second. I just want to like look at a few things. Oh, there you go. So I'm going to take a little bit of my dot trade off. Give me a second. Oh, man, that feels good. Sorry. So like you see what I'm looking at right here. So we're in for like, this is a 5-minute chart, but you see how we're in this range. We came down to a critical level. What area are we about to back test? Somebody.
yes, the point of control.
Point of control, right? So like for this price action, this is a really important level. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we came out, like if we have a bit of a pullback from here. So that's why I took profit. So this is my take profit one. My stop loss is gonna get moved to entry. So like your value area low is 24 bucks. So like you know, you start losing 24 bucks again, then it's like you see how there's not like a ton Obviously, like there's not a lot of volume here because most of your volume came from this price action. Well, actually no, because I started here, so it's all going to be from here. But like this is a really important level. It's like if you reclaim your point of control, right, then you can see how you can move back up like another, you know, to 25 bucks or whatever. This looks good though. I mean, obviously if Bitcoin is holding nicely, like this is what I say, you know, like from an alt perspective, like alts, they tend to have stronger reactions, if that makes sense. So like Bitcoin moves, like alts freak out, you know what I mean? So a lot of times like you can get decent trades off of altcoin. Like it's almost, I want to say that it's better to trade alts, but it's like sometimes there's like better opportunity, like if you're in the right ones, you know, like if you're on like if you're I happen to be charting dot for like the last, like I was looking at it yesterday, so like it's been up on my screen as something of interest, so like it was nice to actually get in this trade, you know, like it just worked out really well. So again with dot, like oh man, this is really nice. So like I'm happy with this stop loss at entry. I don't care what happens now, you know, and like if we reclaim point of control, we push up, great, like that's that's even better, you know. But like this looks, you know, again, like I mean, this looks pretty good. So I'm gonna actually, let me make sure my stops are in. Just hold on 1 second before like I get too deep into talking and then I look and market rolls over and then I'm gonna be mad. Cool. I think I'm golden.
So it looks like Bitcoin just had a 5-minute close and downward, so we just hit our top.
What's that?
So it looks like Bitcoin started. We just had a 5-minute closure that in red.
Oh,
So
I'm not,
is that?
yeah. I mean, like I said, like even on this, like you see how like you're still bearish, like you haven't reclaimed any highs yet. Like even on a 5-minute, you have bearish market structure. You know, so like, do we roll over here? It's certainly possible, but like the trade itself is, sorry, I'm like managing my trade. Make sure well, I mean, like the trade, like this was like an excellent trade though for scalp. I mean, excellent trade. So got the reaction I wanted. Again, like you can even see on a 5-minute, like you know, you came down here, neck candle, took the low, closed back above this level, pushed up, back tested, you know, back tested this as support and then moved up. Oh, we got a few more people in here. Super Gentleman's in here.
Now it's a party.
Now it's a party. Sorry.
But I think, you know, personally, the cool part about this type of a trade is like, you're not like rule number one, like don't ever lose money. So like you're setting yourself up in a situation to where it's very hard for you to lose money. So like now you know, your stop loss is at take profit, and it doesn't matter what happens. You've already made money. If it goes way up, great. If it doesn't, no big deal. Like you don't have to run a stop loss that's going to set you in a place that's going to mess you up.
Well, I'll tell you that like when you get, sorry, I just got to do one more thing real fast. Make sure I don't screw this up because this is like pretty good. But yeah, like when you're able to get really good entries, you know, it's like it's much easier to manage your trade. Obviously, like if things work out, right? So like that's why like I'm quick to take profit. Like at least, you know, like again on these types of trades, like I'm relatively quick to take profit. Like these, I'm not like taking this trade and looking for, you know, 50,000. Like I mean, if it ends up hitting there, fantastic. But like that's not like realistic for this type of a trade. But when you hit like your first key level, take profit, move your stop loss up to entry. That's just how I like to do it. But like then it becomes a risk-free trade. I made money on the trade. Now whatever happens, happens. If it rips up higher, awesome. Gonna make more money, you know? But like if I get stopped out, I made money. It's a win-win, you know? And then you just look for the next setup. So like that is like that's part of risk management that I've learned, you know, like we're gonna talk a lot more about risk management over the coming, you know, months. But like part of my philosophy, like what I prefer to do for myself is again like I like to secure trades relatively early if it makes sense, right? It depends what type of trade I'm taking, obviously. Like again, this type of trade is very much like, you know, it's a scalp trade, so I'm definitely securing profit relatively early. But like if I'm, you know, if I'm taking a trade off of a like a daily, you know, like and the chart's trending and I'm buying a retrace, I'm not like setting my like that's different. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking much higher time frame. Like my targets are different, you know. So it's like that's a little bit different. But like for this scalp type trading that I do, I found that I do very well when I'm quick. You know, like as long as you're, it's like as long as you like if it's coming up to one of your really important levels, then it makes sense. You know, because like if you're expecting a reaction off of there, then it's better, you know, it's just better to secure your bag. So here we go on DOT. So you see how it's reclaiming the point of control? This is what you want to see. Very happy. So we are coming up into this. So this is something that is of interest to me, which is the golden pocket. Essentially this swing high, swing low, and again this is low time frame stuff, but still it's something that I want to be aware of. But for DOT, like I took profit right here. This is my first take profit. So what, you know, I'm not gonna like take profit here again. And we lose point of control. So like you start to lose, if you like say you get a reaction here and you start to lose these levels, then it's, you know, I might secure a little bit more just to do it. But this looks pretty good. I'm just curious. That is not the pool I wanted. I'm gonna have to redo it. Yeah, so I mean that's pretty close. So like you're 1-to-1. You go from here. Since your high, low, high. So your 1-to-1 was 23.55. So like that's pretty good. You actually got a bit of a reaction off your 1-to-1. So you see, this is like 5-minute time frame stuff, low time frame stuff, but still very relevant. So coming up and do little golden pocket here. We'll see what happens. But this is what you want to see. Bitcoin looks good. Bitcoin's pushing. Can't complain. Good trade. So I'm done. Kind of patting myself on the back a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. But is there specific charts that you guys would like to cover while I'm here? I mostly wanted to come on here to explain why I thought this was going to happen, because I thought this was really important, and like kind of my mindset about how I trade this. So like again, like I posted this obviously before it happened, like, and I was looking for this. We got it. Nice reaction so far. Bitcoin's pushing with 46.1. So like that's mostly why I wanted to come on here, and I wanted to hang out with Ribsy for a while. Ribsy said he wanted to come on here. Now Super Gentleman's on here. So if you guys have anything to add, let me know. Well, Super Gentleman left. It's probably bedtime. It's probably bedtime for him. He's well, or it's super early in the morning actually.
Can I ask you to?
Oh, here goes Dot.
XRP?
Look at, what was that? Oh, look at this.
XRP
What is happening?
on that.
What is happening in the world? Oh my god, let me look at my trade real quick. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Okay. Did you say XRP?
Yeah. It,
The USD pair, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So right into the 786 so far. Get a bit of reaction there. See that? This is why I like fibs. I like fibs quite a bit. There's your 786, like to the exact cent. Let's look at XRP. Let's see. I use. Is there what are you trading on Binance?
Yeah, I'm trading on Binance.
Okay, I'll just use Binance chart. Oh, Bitcoin. You see, like, I actually don't chart XRP very much. I think my charts are on Coinbase. Maybe they're on, I don't know where the hell I put them. Either way. I'm just gonna mark some levels off, so just give me a second. That way I can, like, try to be helpful. This is being recorded, by the way. Just for you guys. This monthly level is pretty important. The open daily. Oh man, of course I had to chart this on the wrong one. That's why I don't have anything. I'm just curious. Give me a second. Nah, it's okay. I know Bitcoin, I'm pretty sure Bitcoin closed inside the cloud.
It did.
I'm gonna be curious about that. So this is BitMEX, but still it's gonna be pretty close. So 46,595 area, 46.6, which is interesting because I think 46.7 was like the hourly market structure that I wanted to see flipped. So like top of cloud like could become resistant. So it'd be interesting to see if you get a reaction over here. But typically like when you come back into cloud, it's not like the end of the world or anything. I would just be looking like you know, if you close back inside cloud, then you have a potential of like, then you're looking for these levels. You know, it's not always like that. It's just like, that's how I would read it though. It's like, you just gives you like, you know, like you could have a bit of a deeper pullback, but it's not always the end of the world, especially like you got a lot of wicks down into these levels. Like there is support built up here, but typically like you get a closure back inside cloud, like you could, it just means like you could come back to essentially like ranging within the cloud until you get a break of it either way. But like this is good to see that, you know, the cloud is, it's essentially like you have your sync with span A and B kind of coming together, and like it's looking like it's hopefully going to cross bullish event, you know, maybe Depends on like price action, obviously, but maybe like a week out or something. Maybe you get it'll get a lot more interesting for sure. Holy crap. Sorry, I'm looking at Dot again on my other screen. Sorry, I'm like not trying to be like super distracted, but I'm trying to manage my trades and do this at the same time. It's a little hard. But anyway, back to XRP. I think this was the chart I was doing. Yeah. It's like a similar situation. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty similar. He's really lining up. So like if this hypothetically is the top, I'm just curious what the cloud would look like. Oh wow, look at that. See, I mean that wouldn't be very good, but this monthly, like it has quite a bit of stuff lying out. Now I'm not saying we're going to 70 cents, but I'm just saying like this would be like I would be interested in potentially taking a trade if we came back down to that level. But I mean that's like things wouldn't look very good if you did, you know. So let me make it all the way over. How's that? Look at this. Where's your high so far? Here's your value area high. And this is from your high to your low, right? So your volume from your high to your low came right back into your value area high, and so far you've rejected off of that. This is a pull that I like to do a lot, either from low to high or high to low. So on Bitcoin, I actually have a pull from like your 30K low up to your like our current high. All that volume is the same pull, same type of pull that I would do. So because I like to know where your value area levels are from this move, you know, because you obviously had a really big move to the downside. And then now that we're pushing back up, like I want to know where my volume levels are based on like this particular range, essentially. So yeah, I mean, and you're coming up into like, this is definitely like a pretty important level. I mean, as far as like XRP goes, like I don't have much to say about where it is right now. I think if you push down to like $1.03, you have some pretty nice confluence as far as the support level. Fine. You're not gonna let me do that, then I'll look at a weekly. Kijun. Here's where any monthly pivots line up. It lines up very nicely. So you're gonna make me have to go to a lower time frame. S2. This is a daily though. But I mean, you have some decent confluence down here. So this is a pretty important, like this, you see all these closures. Technically they're like daily levels, but I just marked this off as a key level. So I know that like a back test of this. So again, you have this key level for me. Price comes back up, rejection, push back on, you know, coming back to back test this again, like back test this as support. Okay, maybe it happened on lower time frames, but this is an important level, $4. You know, basically it's a little bit of a region here for me, but you have your 382, which in really strong uptrends, you want to see your 382 held. So you have your key level here, your 382. Look where your daily Tenkin is. It's sitting right in this range. And then again, I think there was like a pivot somewhere around this region, but essentially somewhere like in this zone is something that I would want to see held as support if you do indeed come and backtest it here. as you sit, there's no trade for me here, you know, like there's nothing, like I'm not, like I wouldn't be like super interested in. I mean, maybe, you know, if you're looking at low time frame stuff, like, you know, then maybe you could find an entry. But like for me, and like this is more of a swing trade perspective, I guess you could say. I guess I should have asked you what time frame you're looking on. But like again, this is kind of an area of interest if XRP comes back down again, kind of like around the dollar level, right? Dollar to, you know, $1.04. For maybe, you know, maybe you get a bounce off of here, or if you're able to kind of push back outside of cloud again, and then, you know, like maybe things start to, you know, if like Bitcoin looks bullish and whatnot, like maybe you can kind of take a trade. That wouldn't be like a very, I wouldn't like that like a whole lot.
I was looking at a 12-hour on the Ichimoku, so kind of like I did open along and I got wrecked last night.
12 hour?
Yeah.
So you opened the long last night.
Yeah, that was a really bad spot too.
So if you're looking at Ichimoku, what made you get into the long is my question.
I guess I was hoping it would keep going up. I
Yeah.
guess.
So like typically, like if you're gonna look for, I'm gonna delete everything. So like if you're using Ichimoku to get in a trade, okay? Typically what you want to do is you want to wait for your crosses, you want to wait for your cloud entry, like here. You see? So you technically don't have a bullish TK cross until you're inside, you know, until you're here. And again, so you're talking about 12 hours. So that's the one I'm gonna use. But you see how your Tenkin has acted as really nice support, right? So you get your entry, you know, or get your cloud entry here. Let me see. It's you don't technically have a bullish TK cross yet until right here on this day. But like the cloud, not really something like, you know, if you're looking for an edge to edge trade, this is like not a good risk reward. It's better back here because like you have a thicker cloud, right? But anyway, like there's multiple entries here. So like you could have entered here when you get your bullish TK cross, 10 contest, 10 contest, 10 contest. Like you see how 10 can phenomenal support, right? Really nice support. Which, by the way, where's your Tenkin at right now? $1.06, pretty darn close to that zone that like we were talking about, right? You see the zone where your Tenkin is? So if this comes back down to test your Tenkin, which has been really good support on this trend up, gives you a bit more confluence too. Well, there's your pivot, your S2 pivot. So your S2 pivot is literally at your 3A2. So there's a lot of confluence. Like there's a lot of confluence in this general area. To look for a trade. Oh man, I'm sorry, my DOD trade is just absolutely ripping right now. But so again, going back to, what did I just do? Okay, so going back to this, like I would prefer, like, again, so like your entries are like, these are your entries, right? And then you get your bullish, essentially you get your close above cloud, 10 can retest. So this is kind of what I'm talking about for Bitcoin. What I like, this is kind of what you look for, right? So you got your closure back inside cloud, you came back down to your support level, right? And then you were able to push back out and move up. So like you came back and retested your Tenkin though. Like that's kind of what I'm looking for anything that's closing inside a cloud. Like you're looking for that retest. But like these are your entries. If you're looking at Ichimoku, like if you're looking at like an entry up here, you see how far price is away from your Tenkin and your Kijun. So you're in, this is what's called disequilibrium. So price, you want price to be like relatively close to your Tenkin or Kijun. When it's this far away from price, it's in disequilibrium. And this is where you start to get concerned for your pullbacks, if that makes sense, because this is so far away from where price is up here, right? So if you're looking from an Ichimoku perspective, you definitely would not want to take a trade. you're not longing here. Like you don't want to long here if this is the chart that you're looking at. Now, if you have levels and you're not using Ichimoku, I turn this off. If you're going based off on levels, then that's different, right? But from an Ichimoku perspective, you do not like, is this a strong chart? I mean, this is bullish, you know, like this is very bullish, but you still have to pick your entries though, you know, like if you're going based off Ichimoku, you want, like, it's better, like you see again how your retests are. Like this is what you want to see when you see that a Tenkan or your Kijun, whatever, whichever one gets tested, and you see it's respected, like this, then you know that when you come down to test, if you're gonna pick a buy spot based upon this chart, like you're looking for another Tenkan retest, right? But I honestly, like, is another Tenkan retest gonna hold? Not entirely sure. I'll have to see like how this chart progresses. But again, like, I like that where your Tenkan is now, like there is support in this level. Like we know that this is likely to be a decent support level, right? But if it breaks, then you're looking here, which would be kind of nice. Like over the course of the next, looks like 5 days, 6 days, whatever, Kijun starts working up into this day level. Like this is another support level. So like that, this is how you can use. Somebody asked me this, I think yesterday, like, do you use your SR levels in conjunction with Ichimoku? And like I do, but Ichimoku isn't really meant to be used in that manner. Like, to be perfectly clear, it's not like it is its own system. I just like to trade. I like to trade this way because I like confluence. It helps me find confluence. But like when you have a really strong trend, right? I rely more on Ichimoku than I would my levels to a degree. Depends what I'm trading. You know, depends what time frame. Like if I'm looking for entries and whatnot, like I really like Ichimoku, especially like you go back to my Bitcoin videos that I've done, you know, when I'm talking about like Ichimoku, when you got your entry, if you ride it all the way out, like, and you look for you look on the, like the different buy retests you got at like 30K, you know, like go over all of those. Very powerful tool. When you're trending, when you're clearly trending like this, very powerful tool. But when you're in a range or something, let's say it's useless, but it's definitely a lot less useful, which is why you've seen me, like, I haven't talked too much about Ichimoku because Bitcoin has been in a range for like a couple months, right? Like, so it's not something that I'm going to discuss very much. Like, I'm definitely relying more on my levels than I am Ichimoku. But for this type of chart, I mean, this is like a really, really impressive move up. But again, you're pushing up, you pushed right up to your value area high of this whole piece of price action right here. So this is a critical level. You reclaim this level, so I guess that's the flip side of this, right? So we found our support, kind of an area of interest where, like, honestly, to be honest with you, I don't really like to trade XRP, but like, we found our support level. Now to the upside, simply if you reclaim value area high, you're probably coming back up to this monthly. You know, if you come back up, you reclaim this level, 135, 136, very likely you're going to come up to this dollar, you know, $1.60 monthly. And at that point, like, you know, especially if the rest of the market looks strong, you're probably going to push. So that's like the flip side of it. So you have your support area of interest on, like, even on, you know, 12-hour time frame, daily time frame, and then your upside resistance, you know, like if this is flipped, so like this is clearly resistance, you come back up here and test this again and you flip this level into support, then you're looking up to this monthly next. In which there's been a lot of action in this area, right? So like, yeah, probably resistance again, but again, that's kind of how you play it. It's level by level. You flip this into support, look to the monthly. You flip the monthly into support, you're looking at, you know, things get exciting. So I'm gonna actually take a little bit more profit on my dot trade. Just give me a second. It's because I see like we came all the way back up. If you look at the dot chart, is this the chart I wanted? No. Is this the chart? Yeah. We came all the way up. So R1 daily pivot, took the high here. Actually, I'm not going to take profit. Hold on a second. So we took this high right now. Look at this reaction though. You see what I'm talking about? Alts. Like alts, when like they react violently, and like especially when you get this 618, I mean, you get this, like this is just, it's perfect. Like dot came down to a 618 the same time Bitcoin was doing the swing failure pattern play. I mean, it's like you look for those, man, that's like, it's good. Like that's a type of like trades that you can look for, you know? And then, I mean, you're not always going to get this kind of a reaction, but what a reaction. Like this is insanely powerful, right? And like, so for me, my next, I don't think I have my, so like, see kind of where price is at right now. There is a day level right here. If you can see that. There's also a day level up here. So there are some minor resistances, but if you throw on Ichimoku, you're looking at $30. So this is like pretty good area for me that I'm looking for, which is why I'm like really interested in taking a dot trade. But like I'm really looking for about $30, maybe just shy of $30 a little bit. But again, just going back on like low time frame, you see we're running right into the R1 pivot, little bit of resistance there. Oh, pushing through. Oh my goodness. This is powerful. Like this is, what a move. But again, like, I don't know if you kind of like, I know I've said it a few times, but again, like when Bitcoin moves, especially when it moves down, all panic, you know, like you get a bigger reaction out of the altcoins. And a lot of times, again, if Bitcoin's coming down to a critical level, look for other alts that are hitting critical levels in conjunction with that, and you can, like, you'll get, again, you're not always going to get something insane like this, but this is kind of what I mean by like alts are almost better risk reward, you know, like from that perspective. So like from your low to your high, 11.5% move pretty much, like in the span of an hour. Like DOT has literally went up 11.5% in the span of an hour. And when you're leveraged, this is a massive move, huge move. So I'm glad I didn't take profit yet, or I took a little bit of profit earlier, but I'm letting this one run. Like what I was worried about was coming up and taking this high and then kind of like having a retrace, right? But like that's not happening yet. So like what I'll do is I'll probably just put an alert here. And like one thing that you can do too, like you're worried about something like this, like you could always trail a partial stop loss, by the way, which helps as like to help you take profit, essentially trail a stop up. You don't have to stop your whole position, but like if you're looking for a certain percentage of your, you know, like your trade to take profit on, when you have moves like this, you can just trail a stop loss, like a partial stop loss, and that, like, if it comes back and hits it, then that's a take profit. So if that makes sense. Can you guys still hear me? Because I feel like I want to make sure everybody can hear me, and I didn't just like.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Just
it's kind of hard when you're like talking to yourself, you know. It's like,
is it too late to hop in that train?
100%.
Way too late.
Way too late. This is like you're late. You know, like again, 11.5% move off the low, but this is why, like, knowing your levels, like, and I mean, just having like experience, like this is what you look for. And like, again, you're not like, this is not always gonna happen, but what a reaction, like insanely powerful. So
Are you moving up your stop loss up a bit?
no, I haven't touched it yet.
Oh.
Which, I mean, it's kind of like, this is like why I set this alert. if this alert gets hit, I'm gonna take some more off.
Is your alert connected to your 3 commas to do a trigger, like to close the deal?
Well, I mean, no, it's not. This is manually. So like I'm trading, like this is manual trade. Like I'm actually on Binance Futures trading this, like on my other computer. Holy crap. Anyway, back to. So are we clear on XRP? Did I explain that well enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all good. I finally understand where I went really wrong.
Yeah, I would just be really careful. Oh, Solana is just ripping right now too. Look at this. Solana, same thing. So like Solana, just from looking at pivots, swing failure pattern, Solana came down to its daily pivot and then ripped the other way. Like I don't even need to look at anything else. I mean, like it's literally came down to daily pivot. Now you went all the way up to R1 pivot. All these people who were short here are getting absolutely wrecked right now. And I know there was quite a, like on Twitter, there was quite a few people shorting Solana. Like they got stopped for sure. It's a little concerning though, to a degree. I mean, this is really strong, but man, this is another one. 14%, 14.5% move in an hour. I mean, that's all. So like, did Bitcoin move 14% an hour? No. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's the whole, look at this. Like again, without like, I don't think I have, no. But I'll tell you right now, like all the shorts absolutely massacred right here on this move. And I know, well, somebody, their stop loss is a lot higher supposedly, but somebody took a really big short. This is something to pay attention to though. Like basically come up and take these highs. We'll see what happens. But like this, I don't really want to short this move, especially like with what's going on with Solana right now, like with the whole NFT deal, and like people are needing Solana to buy NFTs. Like you have a lot, like, you know, I heard a rumor. I didn't actually like confirm this, but I heard a rumor that Binance shut down Solana withdrawals, and they're like pretending that there's maintenance to do. Like I think like they're trying to stop people from taking Solana off the exchange. So I thought that was interesting. So is there what's another chart you guys want to take a look at? Let me see how long have I been running for? Oh, how's this been an hour? 58 minutes. How's that possible?
Yeah, it's quick.
Yeah, it feels like I've been on here for
quickly.
like 20 minutes. So is there a different chart you guys want to look at? Because I've talked about Bitcoin, I've talked about DOT, talked about XRP. Let's look at a different chart.
Or chain, rune, or whatever.
Rune? The one. So I remember I said something, and somebody was like, "Oh no, that's screwed." Because they hack, or not? Was it a hack, or I'm trying to remember. Something happened.
Yeah, they got hacked.
They got hacked. Something, like, you know,
crashed.
but it's like,
but they did fix it. So
yeah, but like, just like, I mean, I wish I had bought. I wasn't like, I told myself I was gonna buy, like if it got really low. I just have too many charts I'm looking at. So what about this chart? Is it just levels, support? Is it, you know, or is there like something specific that you want to see?
I guess the levels would be nice.
Oh, this is a pretty important level. $20. How old is this chart? Oh, it's new. I'm not gonna go too far back. All right. So yesterday, you obviously like the cloud is changing shape. So like today's very likely gonna close inside a cloud. Where, I don't know. Bullish TK cross, that's good. Uh, Not like a fan of this setup, really. But so you see like this high right here? That's something that I would like I would mark as a key level. So you have your swing high, big move down, right? Come back up, wick, close above, test, test, close below, back test perfectly, wick. You see, and like closure, open. Like you see how well respected this key level is? So it's not really a level, right? This is just like a straight SR level. Like this doesn't have like a fancy name. It's just literally like a level that's very well respected that you should be aware of. So that's 770, 769, 770. Like that's definitely like an area of interest.
So when you say area of interest, that's like something you want to monitor, or is that like a entry
It's
point?
something to be aware of. Like it's, again, like a key level isn't like an entry necessarily. It's just like an important level that I would want to be aware of. So like if I'm looking for trades and we happen to be around like a key level, you know what I mean? Like I want to make sure it's marked. So like here's a day level again. Day level, next day back test rejection, like I've shown, there's a key. I feel like I've talked about this a ton already, but like this is another example of that happening.
So at what time frames do you look at? Like when you're looking at a key level, because I see you're marking it on the daily, but
Yeah.
you mentioned that you don't necessarily need to open a trade at the key level. So like when do you usually make your entry? At what point is that? And what factors kind of come into play so that
Well, that's what
it
I'm
makes
that's what I'm working on right now. So like I'm not done with the chart. Like I'm still marking my levels. Like for me, like it's just like I went over in XRP. You see how we found like confluence factors, different things telling us like a specific level is like that there is like likely to be support at that. I think it was like the $3, $4 level. That's what I'm working on right now. Like this is how you build your case, right? So anytime you like you're starting your chart, so you see how I mark levels, then I kind of pull fibs. Like I'm like breaking down the chart essentially. So like I'm not at the point where I could be like, oh, this looks like a nice entry, because I'm not done yet. Like I'm still like going through everything.
Okay.
But I was just explaining this key level, why it was important, and like why I marked it as a key level, because I didn't go over like what really my key levels were in the SR video that I just did. You know what I mean? So like when you guys see this, like they don't always mean the same thing. All the key level means is that to me it's an important level, but I was just explaining why it's an important level, because it's really well respected, right? So anyway, what was I doing? So going back, so like this is kind of like where I could see a potential entry off of the key level. You see where your Tenkan is going to be in 2 days approximately. It's going to line up pretty close with this key level. So like this is just one form of confluence saying, hey, like this could be a thing, but it's not yet, obviously, right? But like I was looking at this, like price being where it is, just broke inside of the cloud today. But I don't really like, you know, like I gotta like you don't really have any kind of trade based off of Ichimoku here until this actually closes. So you got another 22 hours before this like you even think about looking for like to see, because you got to see what happens. Because I mean, in 22 hours, this could drop all the way out here. You don't know. Who the hell knows what was going to happen? You know, like Bitcoin goes to 35K or something crazy like that. I'm not saying it's going to, but I'm just saying like you got to wait for confirmation when you're looking at Ichimoku. What else do I want to look at? Guess I got to switch time frames. So this data level, that's right here. I mean, so interesting enough, right? From a 12-hour perspective, like you can see how important this level was. So this is your daily level, but you look at a 12-hour chart, you have your wick, closure, wick, rejection. What once was resistance breaks through, back test as support, nice move up. So this daily level, just by going on a lower time frame, you can see like this daily level is really important, right? And you don't really want to see this level lost as support. I was just kind of curious where the pivots are. So this daily level is pretty important. So like, I'll tell you like, I don't have my EMAs loaded up on here, which is really frustrating, but that's another thing that I do look for Confluence. I do look at moving averages here and there. But like you're above your daily level. There's not a lot of like, so I mean, so you have your 382 coming in right at $10. And I mean, $10 is typically, you know, it's like a nice round number. Wouldn't surprise me, bit of resistance there. But honestly, like this looks pretty good. I took a fib extension pool. Essentially, your 1-to-1's around 1180. So it's basically like your 50% retracement. It's kind of where you'd be eyeballing. Your one, see, this is really nice. Your 1.618 is literally your monthly golden pocket area. Like that's really nice. That's really nice. So like for me, looking at Rune, like this looks pretty damn bullish, honestly. I think like, again, going back to like, we didn't look at this on a low time frame. It's the same thing. Like, look at this. I mean, like you took this low. Say you took this low. This is all the same time. Now, obviously, like I would have liked to have seen the daily get hit. If you see the daily get hit, same time Bitcoin's doing what it's doing, like that's like this is a pretty nice area. But like you did take this low. I think a lot of alts are probably going to look similar, to be honest. But this is another nice move up. Probably not as nice. No, it's nowhere near as nice as Dot and Sol. But still a nice move. But looking at it, again, like this is strong. You got your, you know, nice uptrend, pull back right to your monthly level. Look at this. Few back tests at your monthly level. So, you know, this is massive support. You do not want to see this lost. And then a nice move up. Like you can see here, like we're moving higher. Like Rune looks good. As far as an entry goes, remember why the hell I put that line there. Oh, that was the 5-minute. You know, as far as an entry goes, like if you do get a bit of a pullback, you could possibly look for here. The problem is your invalidation isn't like super clear, because like I wouldn't give this too much leeway. There's just, again, like there's not a great entry here, unfortunately. There's not a great entry, but it looks bullish. I mean, we're probably going to $10 probably this weekly, to be honest. Wouldn't surprise me, as long as the rest of the market, you know, does relatively, like holds relatively well. Very likely you see Rune follow through. Like I'd probably going up to this weekly.
If it goes to your monthly level, that would be a trade, wouldn't it?
If it came back down here, or are you talking about up here?
No, it's down.
Uh,
Would that be a potential?
Potentially,
long?
you know, like one thing. Ooh, I don't know. You know, if it happened later, for sure. You know,
Yeah.
which is like, again, you're not. If it happened today, no, probably not. You know, but like,
Yeah.
if it happened later, like you kind of see what I was looking for to see like where the cloud would
Yeah.
be if it lines up with the monthly at all. You know, like we kind of came up in here and chopped around. That could be, you know, depending like if it was later. And like, again, this is like the same type of trade setup. And I'll give you an idea of like what that would look like. Okay, like what I would be looking for. So first of all, you have an untapped daily level here. Right? So like this is I can already see like this is like a big invalidation though, which I don't like. One thing that I would be looking for is to take these lows. If these lows got taken, same thing that I kind of talked about on Bitcoin. So I'm just gonna draw this, but this probably isn't gonna happen. But I'm just gonna like explain this because just to explain Ribsy's question. Essentially, like if you had to move down, right? You back test, you start kind of like chopping down. Like I would want to see these lows clearly get taken here, right? I mean, you don't necessarily have to come down and backtest this daily or anything, but I would want to see these lows get taken and then like a reclaim of your monthly. I hate how this is like really squiggly. I don't know how to fix that. If anybody knows how to fix this, please tell me. It's like really frustrating. But that's kind of what I would look for, if that makes sense. So like you would lose these levels obviously, but I would want to see these lows get taken and then the monthly reclaimed. And then it gives you a nice potential. So like once your monthly's reclaimed, that's your entry. Your stop loss is below wherever this is, right? I mean, you, depending on your risk tolerance, I mean, you could like go below the daily, but again, I don't think you really need to. Like for this type of trade, it's usually like wherever the low is. And then quite honestly, like your target is probably back up. Something like that. Back up to this daily. You know, maybe we form a range here. That's probably not going to happen. I'm telling you, like this looks good. But I'm just saying, hypothetically, if we were to come back to the monthly, this is the type of setup that I would look for, if that makes sense. Yep. And like, hopefully there would be other forms of confluence there. So again, like you turn your Ichimoku on, right? So like, I know I just deleted it, but like then your cloud is also helps you with your invalidation, maybe, you know, like again, that's like jumping way ahead, but it's worth discussing just so you guys can understand kind of what I would be looking for, right? But yeah, this looks pretty good, especially if, you know, again, like if the market holds, you know, like if the market continues to show strength, like this is probably going much higher. And like, so your Ichimoku is telling you $12, which, so like you see this 1-to-1 extension that I did here. So this is your 1-to-1 fib extension. This is definitely like an area, like a take profit for me, considering the top of the cloud's $12, 12.14. I would be like really careful, like in this zone, just from an Ichimoku perspective. Weekly, that's a pretty big level as well. I would like to see like some other things lining up with the weekly to kind of give me like more, like, you know, like, I mean, there's obviously like a daily level sitting here, but I'm not going to mark that because the weekly's close enough. But this looks pretty good. But like you have your interest, like your level of interest below, right? So like if we do come back down, you could potentially, like if there are other things kind of like giving you, like if there's other reasons to long here, like this isn't a terrible long. But right where we sit, there's no really, you know, unless I went down to like a 5-minute time frame and try to find an entry, but that's not really that's not going to happen at this point, especially like since things already bounced. Like look at Solana. Oh my goodness, look at that. Just destruction. Everybody who's short absolutely wrecked. Like,
and
this
you can't chart that anymore, is it? Because it's all-time high. So
well, this is actually a good. I'll actually do this for you. Like,
okay.
Essentially, like, I mean, this is pretty insane because you don't even have like, so I'll tell you where you start. You start with your pivots. Okay. So I'm curious where your pivots are. So like, wow. So I wonder did this happen today? Yeah, it did. Look at this. So again, pivot, right? Came down to your pivot, hit your pivot, big move to the upside. But essentially like your R1 pivot, like you would look like this is how you would kind of look for resistances, right? And you look at the like Solana has had like quite a bit of volatility, so your pivots are pretty wide. But like pivots is one place to start. You know, fib extensions, which I don't even really see anything that's like seriously. I mean, like one, like this is probably not even gonna be a thing. Like this is like too much. Okay, so like you see, I pulled a fib extension here, and your 1-to-1 lines up exactly with your R3. You see that? That's confluence. Like this is really good to see. But that's like an insane fib pull. But it's, I mean, this is such a strong, powerful move. Like that is your fib pull. So like I have two things telling me that $86, $87, right? I'll just mark it. So like this is a important level from a pivot standpoint and a Fibonacci standpoint. Right, so like this is kind of like one way that you can build your case for future resistance. And then like so I went on the hourly time frame, right? You can chart your hourly levels. So here is even like a potential hourly level that I would maybe look for on a back test. So like these are your hourly levels. Are you going to have anything bigger than that up here? This hourly is actually a 4-hour level. Jeez, I mean, you can chart this, but you already broke through it. So like, I mean, but this could be a nice back test at 67 possibly. But like, you see how you just go, like you go on lower time frames. So again, looked at the hourly, got my hourly levels for this immediate price action, because this is all we care about, right? Essentially, if you lose this 4-hour level, you lose your pivot, then you're going for like a deeper retrace, you know? But this is how you chart all-time highs. So you're not going to have, you go to a daily chart, you're not like, this is what it's going to look like. You have nothing, right? You literally have nothing until $44. Like there's no daily levels until like $44. That's how insane that this has been, right? But if you go down, you mark your hourly, you mark your 4-hour levels. You can go even lower. You can go to 10 minute. I don't do 10 minute, like 15 minute. Like just look at this move, 15 minutes. But like you see how your hourly again like catches this pretty well. So, you know, basically like that's how you would chart something that's in a blue sky breakout. Like you lower your time frames and you chart it the exact same way. So like this is actually a really nice range. If you look at this, I mean, this is like a pretty nice range here. Impulse, you know, like you got your big move up, then you start going sideways. So like you can pull your volume. Now, of course, we're breaking out of this. So this is starting to be like less, you know, you can mark your value areas here. And this is how you start to build like your immediate support resistance, right? I like how this lines up with your pivot, by the way. But like we're breaking out. So like I'm just kind of showing you like how you could possibly like trade this area. But again, you go to a daily, this is what it looks like, you know? I mean, this is insane. But that's essentially like how you would look to chart and find entries on, like you just go on lower time frames essentially. But the thing I will say too is like you keep your entries in mind. Like your targets are obviously, you know, like your invalidation I would say is like pretty close, you know, like you wouldn't give this too much leeway because again, like this is your daily. When this pulls back, it's gonna be ugly. Like it's gonna like it's just a hunch. But I mean, when you see this type of move, and now we're getting the really big impulsive move up, right? Eventually, like we're probably gonna form a range at the top, or you can even see like a potential blow off. So again, maybe we come up to this key level, or even as insane as it sounds, like you see the one spot 618 at $100. I mean, that's like I like that. I like to see that. And I think I had mentioned that. I don't remember if I typed it in chat or if I had said it, but like Sol at $100 is possible. Like with what's going on, you know. Not that I'm trading for $100, but I'm just saying like it wouldn't, you know. But like the pullback on a move like this, it's, you know, when it comes, it's gonna be, it'll probably be pretty substantial.
Yeah, I'm so tempted to cash out on some of my Soul because you know I bought Soul just for NFTs. But
Yeah, and
like,
then what's that worth
know?
now, right? Just in the last like couple days,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
So, you
Can you
know,
imagine me kicking myself after we got out of Soul at 34. I had 100 grand in 30 in Soul at $34.
that's tough.
Days like 10 days ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
that's tough. You know. But yeah, I mean, so like this is how you trade blue sky breakouts. So when you're trading something that's at all-time high, you can use fib extensions, you use pivots, and like, you know, I could go on weekly pivots, see if there's any confluence. So like R3 on like a higher time frame. Yeah, so I mean, like you would just find your pivots, and sometimes you even get pivot. So like here, your R5, you see that? So like you just look at your different pivot timeframes as well, and you can mark those off. And sometimes you get pivot confluence, like sometimes they'll line up like real close to each other, which is good. But I mean, that's like, this is essentially how you trade those blue sky breakouts. But again, like we're clearly, so here's your range value area high, right? Like you broke that, now you're like above, you know, again, the blue sky breakout, you're above all resistance levels. But if Sol does pull back, then you potentially have, like, you know, you can potentially get an entry. I just be so like, when it's this extended, you gotta be a little careful. You know what I mean? It starts to get pretty crazy. But again, above all resistance or all resistance levels right now, and it just, you know, we'll see what happens. Like if it comes and forms another range like this, then you trade the range once you identify it, you know. But right here, right now, there's definitely like there's nothing to do. I wouldn't short this because for hopefully obvious reasons, like the strength is unreal, right? Like this is very, very strong move up. But longing this here just doesn't make any sense either, because your invalidation is like, you know, like you have to keep in mind, like when you're trading these blue sky breakouts, like especially when you have these levels are not as strong. You know, like they're not as strong as, you know, higher time frame levels. So that's something to keep in mind. But like if you're trading on low time frame, if you're scalping Sol, then, you know, then you absolutely can use these levels, but you just got to be careful.
Yeah, it's probably too late now. Just to try to get on.
You're a little
It's
late
not
to the
working.
game if you're trying to trade, if you're trying to do anything up here. I mean,
It's a bit stupid if you do in a way. To be honest.
I think like
Let's find the next couple breakouts.
yeah, they're just like essentially like what you want to see now is a pullback of some sort. Like if you're not in and you want to get in, like you want to see a pullback of some sort to somewhere that has a lot of confluence. Like, you know, like there's a lot of reasons to take that trade. And then, or you wait for a blow off top, which I think is possible. You know, again, like on a move like this, or you look for it to come up to it. Like, again, I wouldn't like take this. Oh, I wouldn't just be like, oh, I'm going to short right here. Like I would not do that. But if you get a reaction you want to see and you see some kind of like blow off move, then you could probably short. I'd just be careful. This is like, man, this is really strong. And the thing is, fundamentally, like what's going on in the NFT space is helping Sol's case a lot right now. Like that's kind of part of it, you know. Like you got some projects that came out and have been coming out that are using like a lot of Sol. Which Ribsy, I don't know if you saw this one, but it's called what is it? Solarians?
Solarians.
And it's like last I checked, it was like almost 19 Sol just to mint one.
19 Sol.
Yeah, but
My
they're
God,
like
that's a lot.
it's the first Solana NFT project. So like you think long term there's probably value to that. You know, like
I'm
not to
sure.
like
I mean,
switch it up,
Six was cheap,
but it's
for,
like
you know,
yeah, literally like 19 is like 18.8 Sol or something. I mean, that's like I did the math. It was like $1,200 or something, but that's before this breakout happened. So it's like who the hell knows what it was? Probably like $1,500 now. Anyway,
When's the launch? I mean, it looks good. I mean, obviously, you know, if there's a lot of people buying it, you know, obviously it's, you know, still worth buying, you know, just to try to flip
yeah,
it.
I mean,
But
if you need it, right? Like people are buying it because they need it for NFTs. So it's like you're just market like I was doing it back at like 40 or if it was like 43. I was market buying Sol just so that I could buy NFTs. You know what I mean? So it's like
definitely,
you know,
yeah, we weren't even looking at the price, to be honest. You just
no,
trying to
you
get
just need
sold.
it to get what you're gonna do, right? So you just buy it. But that's what people are
Exactly.
doing.
No, oh, it's actually live now, is it? Solarians, because it's
Yeah, well, it's been live. It's just getting really expensive now to mint those. So like the minting is slowed down because they're using a bonding curve. So the more
Okay.
mints that happen, the more expensive it gets, right? So minting slows down naturally, which kind of sucks. 'Cause I do think these are actually going to be pretty valuable. Like it makes it makes sense. Somebody did a thread on it on Twitter, and it makes a lot of sense. Like why they would be valuable in the future.
how many did you buy? Have you bought any?
I haven't bought any yet because I got on a stream because you tagged me and we were like, I'm ready. I'm like, okay, let's get on.
3,423 then.
I haven't bought any yet.
I'm looking at that. If it's going to go down quicker, I'm just going to get a few.
Like
maybe.
there's some floor for like 8 Sol, you know, like you could buy like, but they're like, you want to try to mint it's like the commander or something, like the top one,
you want to mint just to try to get a super rare.
Yeah.
For the Oculus.
But the mint's a little, you know, it's pretty expensive in terms of like looking at other
Yeah,
projects.
for 18 Sol, it does that. I mean, have you checked the Discord?
Nope. Discord didn't work. I had to go to their Telegram.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Let me see. How long have I been on? Hour and a half.
Yeah.
That's
It's time for NFT searching again.
that's why I needed to take a break. I was like, I need to stop looking at NFTs. I've spent a little bit of money over the past few days. I should probably.
Oh, I know
Probably
it's
cut it out.
expensive. You need a lot of money to play NFTs. I mean, I thought 5 Ethereum was good enough, but wow, it just went. You know, I've just used up all my bankroll for you know, what I was allocated for NFTs. And it's like, do I deposit more? It's like, maybe not.
See, so we came up to our pivot. What pivot is this? Weekly pivot. Bit of a pullback. I mean, this thing is not just going to elevate her up to $30. You know, like you're going to get a pullback.
Have you cashed out some more, or are you waiting for that key level still?
Probably sell a little bit more. I have a sizable position, that's why. So it's like I'm kind of.
Yeah.
It's not that it's rare.
Did you recompound on the POC retest?
I mean, yeah, like you can compound your trades, but like for.
Well, I just mean that you already took profit once or twice, so I was surprised to still like see how much you had left in it.
Oh, well, I only took. I still have. Let's see. What did I start with? So I have 60% of my position left.
Gotcha.
So I'm still like, you know, I'm happy with that. Yeah. Damn, that's nice. But like, so for scalp type trades, I classify this as a scalp. I don't really compound. I don't like to do that on scalps just because when I hit my take profit, stop loss is up, I'm done. Like I don't want to mess with it. Like if it keeps going higher, great. Like then I just let the trade run, you know? But for swing trades, I will compound. Absolutely. So like, you know what? We can just take a look at it. Why not? Why not? Let me pull up a.
I wouldn't have even thought of compounding in the situation. It was just a question. I thought you had already taken like 60% out of the trade. So
I don't know if I want to get into this right now. Because I'm going to have to delete everything.
you're good.
Maybe. Let me see. No. Should be fine. No, because I'm looking at dot. Yeah. You see how my charts look though? That's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff going on. But here, so like I've gone over this stuff before. Let's hide this. This is really annoying. But like when you're taking swing trades, right? And you're getting your entries. So like here, I did a video on this back in like, geez, I don't even know. Long time ago. But bullish TK recross above cloud, very bullish. Like when you get this signal, so here you have, you know, it goes back inside cloud. You have like, there's a lot. I remember trading this like insanely well. Basically, so like you got your, you know, your back inside cloud. Look at the respect as price comes back and tests the top of cloud. You get your bearish TK cross here, which gives you your edge to edge trade. You see that? So like, and this was like a couple days. Literally, you got your entry. Basically, hit the opposite edge of the cloud. You're out of that trade, and then price chops around inside a cloud, breaks to the upside, right? 11,300 was a massive level. Once that was breached, that was like the green light, all in, huge. Like that was a really big resistance. Once that was reclaimed, you're off to the races. Like I remember this, like this is one of the best trades. And then, but like this for confirmation. So this is a bullish TK recross above cloud. So you see how it happens above cloud? And what happens? That happens. And now again, like you're not always gonna see this, but this is like this in confluence with breaking 11.3. It was just, this was just like, holy crap, like get long big time and hold on to your, you know, like it's this is a wild ride. But anyway, going back to like the compounding theory is, again, like when you're using your Tenkan and Kijun as support, so like you can compound these moves, right? So like if your price comes back down to retest, so like the good compounds for me were these. So like these, when you get your mean reversion back to Kijun, oftentimes really good trades off of this, which sure enough, right? So this was your 42K previous all-time high, comes back down, tests your Kijun, like you get your mean reversion, new all-time high, look at this, right back down. So like these are your compounds that you look for when you get your Kijun retests on really strong trends. This is like beautiful perfection. And then I have said, like when we were talking about like well, I remember doing a TA video back when this was happening. You get your wick through, and then you see how you're not getting like the same type of real reaction you got off of these last tests. And then especially once you started to lose Kijun like this, you like the momentum's gone essentially, right? Price comes back up, then you get your bearish TK cross, and this is telling you to take profit. This is like, so literally you got your bullish TK recross above cloud here. Look at price, 11.3, right? you do not get an exit signal. Like, you don't get your bearish TK recross until price is way the hell up here. So how's this for a trend? This is why I love Ichimoku. Like, this is like this. So like this tells you, like, this is like the cloud was still bullish. Price was still above cloud at this point. But when you get your bearish TK cross, it's telling you, hey, like, it's time to take profit. Like, trend's over, essentially. Like, for now, right? Now, obviously, like, one thing that I was talking about when this happened, and then we got this price action, was like, be careful, you know, because like if we do get another bullish TK recross above cloud, like that would be massively, like that's another like massively bullish signal. Like we probably going much higher, right? But that didn't happen. Got this close and then it was game over, you know. But this was your signal.
The January
telling
25th.
What's that?
You go back to the January 25th where it's touching, that second touch on the yellow.
This one?
So,
Yeah.
you know, as you're going through that live, like you got the first touch and it didn't really move off that hard. So like when you're live looking at this, what is your kind of confirmation in your head when you're looking at it and you're saying,
real
hey,
quick,
I want to actually do this?
Real quick. That's your move. Can you see that? 21% off of this test. That's a big move. It doesn't look big because of looking at everything else, right? But a 21% move up after a retest that's really good. So it doesn't look like a lot, but that's a big move up. So like your second, sorry, go ahead.
Would you go in on that first green candle then? Because then you talk a little bit and you retest again and you're probably starting to sweat at that point.
You're kind of cutting out a little bit. Let me turn my speaker up.
Sorry. So that first candle where you get that 21% move up, are you in on that candle then? Because you chop around there for a while, you retest, you know, that line again. And on that retest, you're probably sweating quite a bit at that point.
This one?
Yeah.
Well, no, like remembering trading this really well is that there was a ton of support down here. So like, when you have your other levels up too, there was a lot of support at 30K, a lot. So when you get this retest, it's absolutely like another opportunity until it's not, you know what I mean? Like if you start to see this, then you know it's, you're probably wrong. But like you can see like there was a lot of support here, not just from an Ichimoku perspective, but like from like SR levels, like all, like there was a lot of support down at these lows. So it's not like this is just like a really nice confluence. But again, like if you're taking, you know, I mean, like if you compound it here and you from like a compounding standpoint, like you don't necessarily wouldn't compound here again, you know, like it depends like your style of trading. Like if you're long from here, like where'd you take profit? Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's like hard, like I'm just explaining like your Kijun retests. And the reason why Kijun retests are really important is because that's equilibrium. That means price is at equilibrium, meaning that like price is relaxed to a degree that it's not oversold or overbought, if that makes sense. Like it's right where it should be. So like here, oversold to a degree, right? You get your pullback. Now we're happy. Like prices, like you've had your retest. Now you can trend higher again, essentially. But like here, you get your divergences too. Like when if your Tenkan and your Kijun start to get too far away from each other, like here, right? You see how they get close again? That's what you want to see. But then this comes back down, obviously. And once this happened, see your wick all the way through it, test, closure here. Like this is telling you, like this is not the reaction that you've seen previously that you want to see. Like this was held really well. This was flawless. Like, you know, start to see this, you know that like you're not, like this is probably not a good buy. Price does this. But again, like this was the most important signal though, right here. This tells you that you're done. whether you were or not, but like this was the factor. Like again, there's your entry way back here. This is your exit. So thought that was important to go over. Geez, let me see. Where are we on time? Hour 41. I'll probably do one more. Does somebody have like what's a good chart? I'm gonna do preferably one I've never seen before. Which honestly, XRP and Rune and all that, I've never like actually really charted those. So that was a good one. But I mean, I've charted XRP, but I don't really like to trade it. I'll tell you why I don't like to trade XRP, because that's not one that I want to get stuck with. So that's why, like, I don't really like to trade assets that I don't like. I don't, not that I like don't believe in it. I guess I don't, but like I don't like trading things that I could get stuck with. Essentially, not a fan. Although, like, if the trade setup's there, it's there, right? Like, you take it. But I'm just XRP and I don't really see eye to eye. How's this doing? This is looking good. We're essentially like, I'm back up to this high, but like, you see how we're kind of grinding this area out? That's a good sign. I think we probably push a bit higher. Anyway, does anybody have like a chart that you want to look at?
I'm good. I've not really been checking. I've been spending too much time on NFTs, to be honest.
Dude,
Anyone else?
NFTs.
If you want to roll through Aave, I'd be happy.
I know I have Aave on here, but I don't know when the last time This is my normal chart, right? Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, like I said, the last time I looked at it, well, you just hit your monthly. So there you go. So why I love these levels. But like, so 444, you literally came up to it. Big, pretty good rejection. What is that? That's pretty good rejection. I mean, yeah, I was like charting it back here. Let me make sure that I don't miss anything. Yeah, look at this. So like super clean, right? So here's your monthly level. Price, goes away from it, and you get, look at this, like your first touch. Nice rejection. Like this is what you want to see. Like that's really. Oh, so here's a new monthly. See, you see, I haven't charted this in a little bit. So here is a new monthly level. Very important level. It's at 251, which is really far away. But again, really important level to be aware of. I can delete this box now. That's old. I can delete this. This is old, which this came almost down to your 786. Weekly still good. Monthly is basically where this weekly is. I'm not going to bother. I mean, there's a weekly here at 200. I guess I could mark that, but that's not like relevant really right now because price is so far away. Let's see here. Go down to daily. What is this? Macro value or high range point of control. So what range was I looking at? Probably this massive range that it has been in. So let me update this. And now this is your range point of control still. Isn't that amazing? Shift your value area high down a little bit. This goes way down here. So that's updated. This actually is pretty easy. This is pretty easy. This is a massive support level at 374. You do not want to see this loss. This is a massive, massive support level. And clearly your immediate resistance is this monthly. Like this is a really big, important support or resistance level. Let's see here. Not really lining up with anything else. Shift it down a little bit. I mean, if you use the day of like the drop, which is May 19th, and not your high, your golden pocket does shift down a little bit. And it lines up pretty nicely with your value area high. So like this is going to be pretty important. Which is your range value area high. It's literally this range. Like this is a really nice range. And it's been in this range since February 5th. Like this isn't, like, hold on. I mean, this is a 193 day range. That's pretty crazy. This is a massive range.
Especially since it didn't continue to trend upwards during, most of altcoin season.
Yeah, I mean, it really did, right? I mean, but like Aave had like, geez, it did that. This move though was epic. I mean, just look at this. Like from your low, I mean, 2100%, which Aave, like, I hate talking about Aave sometimes because I had a massive bag of Aave back when it was Lend. And it was like, I had a lot of it and it was worth nothing. And then I sold it because it was literally doing nothing. Like it was just dead, right? And like you won't see it because Binance got rid of the Lend chart. So they switched it to Aave and now this, and then so this is all you can see. But it's Lend is from like, I mean, that's like a 2018 shitcoin, like before then, But anyway, yeah, I had a massive bag of Lend and it just wasn't doing anything. So I cut it. Then Lend rebranded to Aave and became like what as Aave today. And yeah, that would be a shame. That's a shame. But anyway, really nice range. Again, your support, this macro value area high, which I don't know if this is still the macro value area high, which is, I don't really put like a ton of weight on the macro value area. It still is. But it's your range point of control. So like a lot of confluence here. You don't really want to see this level lost. And then your resistance, I mean, you have quite a bit of resistance up here. You do have quite a bit of resistance, like your range value area high. Typically, like if you're taking a trade from your value area low, like, if this gets reclaimed, weekly gets reclaimed, you're long. And then like you're looking for your point of control value area high as your take profits. But this monthly is pretty important. I feel like, just again, like if the market continues to be strong, like you see this monthly get reclaimed, it's probably going to push through this, head up to this weekly, something like that. Like I think this is strength. Like this is what you want to see, right? And like that's kind of the only thing about alts right now is that like they're gonna do what you saw that today. Like that's just another example. Bitcoin had a move down, took the low, right? Alts got hit, and then Bitcoin recovered, and then alts recovered like a lot. You know what I mean? It's just like that's what you're gonna see for the most part. But again, you're like
You go to the 1 hour chart.
What's that?
You go to the 1 hour chart on this. And just back up. So I've been kind of scalping that trend line from the tops to the bottoms through this kind of trend.
There actually looks like there's a channel here.
Yeah.
It looks like there's like it's almost like it's kind of a channel. It's actually channel's pretty nice.
Yeah, I was just wondering that monthly SR invalidated it, but doesn't seem
No,
like
it doesn't. It doesn't like. It's actually a pretty good channel. Decent channel. Midpoint, push up, test a low. But again, like this monthly has been here. This monthly has been here since, I mean, I don't know, whenever the hell it was made. Since May, right? And this May monthly, keep in mind we're in August, like look at that. That's how important these levels are. Like incredible. But like clearly resistance. Like this is your big resistance level at the moment. Reclaim this level to level. Then you look up here. So you reclaim this monthly, pretty fair shot. You're going to 465, 470, right? So like that's like if you're looking for, you know, a trade like that, essentially, again, you reclaim your monthly. You're looking up to this level. You reclaim this level. You start pushing above here. Then you're looking like, I think there was a weekly, something like that. I'm just gonna hide this. But yeah, I mean, level to level, reclaim your monthly, you look up to your value area high, golden pocket, reclaim value area high, and you're able to be within your golden pocket, and you're looking weekly, which is at 527. So like these are your levels. And then to the downside again, like this is the level. This is a very critical level. Obviously, like you have a day level here, you know, same thing though. You see that? So here, I'll just mark it just because. Day level form, price moves up, back test your day level, big push to the monthly. So again, just these, keep saying it, but these are important levels to know too. So like your day, if you start losing your daily level, then it gives you a bit of insight, right? That you're probably coming back down to this level. One thing, like you can pull fibs too, assuming this is the high. Right, so let's just say that this is going to be the high. Where's your retracement? Well, the first place I look is down here, your golden pocket, which lines up pretty nicely with this weekly level. So that's already like this already is saying, like if this does end up being the high, which I honestly, the way things look right now, I don't know if it's going to be the high. Probably not. But if it is, and we like start to lose these support levels, right? This is a really nice zone already. I like to see golden pockets lining up with like higher time frame levels, like the weekly, monthly, etc. Like this is already an area of interest. But this is assuming this is your high, okay? But again, level to level. That's how I like to trade. It's very much level to level. Reclaim your monthly, you look up to the next one. You reclaim your value area high, and you start pushing above your range value area high of this whole range. That's pretty bullish, right? Like that's pretty darn bullish if you're able to push above your value area high of like a range like this. So then you're looking up very likely this weekly, 527. You reclaim your weekly, and then it's, you know, it's and you start looking up, you know, 600, something like that. So
this is good practice because honestly, Aave has been pretty easy to chart, and this matches up exactly with everything that I've got. So I think you reclaimed that monthly at 444. It looks like there was nothing above that except for a wick on the monthly chart. So
yeah,
it could be a good push off to that. Thanks.
Yep. Well, I think unless somebody else has something, I think I'm gonna probably cut it there. It's been almost about 2 hours, so. I mean, I'm fine, but I should probably go see my family now that they're home.
Quick question: Do you usually trade the channels? If you know, like the powder channel, would you have traded that, or would you use that with...
like I do use those quite a bit. If there's confluence, yes. Like I don't trade. And I'm gonna make this really clear. There's very few instances where I will trade something solely based off of itself. So like if there's a channel, just because it hits the bottom of the channel doesn't mean that I long it, even though it's like looks respected or like you expect it to be respected, right? I want to see like other things line up there. Typically, the more the more confluence that you have, the better chance your trades are going to work out for the most part. But like, I do like channels a lot, actually. And that was a pretty decent one. I would probably want to go refine it like on lower time frames, but like that looked pretty decent. So
there's a lot of altcoin charts during this push, you know. BNB is another one that has like a very similar set of channels as well.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Like a lot of alts, like that's the thing, is a lot of alts are going to look really similar, you know, like a lot of their charts always look relatively close to each other because a lot of them react similarly, like when the like when Bitcoin and ETH kind of do their thing, like you'll see similar reactions a lot of times. Now they're not obviously, like, you can go through all the different charts, they're not going to be identical, but they're going to be like relatively close. So a lot of charts, like, you will see very similar patterns. Like you might see things channeling, you might see, you know, things coming down to test similar levels, you know, like it happens quite a bit. But just to kind of wrap things up, is this even the one I was looking at? I don't think so. What is this? Oh, okay, so here's a different chart that I was working on. So we just reclaimed our point of control for this range that we're in. This range, you see this? Very, very nice range. It's actually all the way back here. So once this range formed, like, we just reclaimed the point of control of this range. This is really nice move up so far. So you reclaim your point of control. As long as we don't lose this, you're looking up to your value area high next, right? Which is all the way at 46.9, 47, you know, somewhere around there. So this would be nice if, like, we continue this. Good. I should probably go check out my trade and make sure I'm... Yep. Not bad. But anyway, again, to wrap it up, like, Bitcoin looks good here off of this move. You don't really want, I mean, you don't want to see this low. If, like, we come back down to this low, we're probably going much lower. Just a guess. Sometimes you get double, like, you'll test, like, maybe we'll come down, take this low, hit value area low of the range, you know, like, and, you know, you could even swing fill this. Not like to jump ahead too much, but that's like a lower type of, like, that's not like as like a strong level in my opinion. I mean, value area low is really, really important level, but if we were to come back down here, I would be a little more cautious about, you know, I'd be a little bit more cautious. But you can see, right, price moves up. So this up VAH, by the way, is uptrend value area high. So I don't know if you remember me explaining when I was pulling the fixed ranges, like from the high to the low, like this is from the low. This is what I was talking about, from like the 30K low up until, you know, all the way till now. Like this is the value area high of that price action. That's why it's there. But anyway, so again, swing failure pattern, pushed up to the point of control. Bit of reaction here. Now we're pushed above, and this is reclaimed for now. See how it goes. Shooting up for here. It would be amazing if we could clean up this naked POC that formed. That would be really nice. So like this actually just formed, I think yesterday, the day before. And where's today's pivot? I think that's also what I wanted to see. Okay, so today's pivot is right here, 46.5. So like high probability that we come up and at least test this. If you do, then like your R1 right at your naked POC, I like that. It would be nice to come clean this up. Sure. Who had a question?
Yeah, I had one. What did you put on your chart? T value area high. What's the T?
That was just a quick notation of this. So I just had that saved as a template, and that's what I meant. It's just time based. Like so, like it's me. It's telling myself that it was the that different the different fixed range pool that I had. It just helps me notate. But like so this really like I notate this up or down. So that's kind of a newer thing that I do, and it's because now I'm like sharing this with you guys. For me, I already know what the level is, when I'm charting myself. But like I'm trying to notate this differently so that it's easier for when I share it, so that you know kind of like what this is about. And again, I'll just show you real quick. Like this is coming from here. So from your low to current price action, this is your value area high so far.
Okay.
So that's all that is. It's just, and like it's the same pool that I did for one of the alts that we did, where I found the value areas from like the all-time high to the swing low. Like I think it was dot. Like that's how I knew, like once we reclaimed the point of control, that it was a really important level, right? So I was looking for higher. Same thing here. So like this is just a level to keep in mind for myself that, but not to confuse, this has nothing to do with these levels. Like this is the value area, low, POC, VAH, like this is for this immediate range that we're in right now. This range.
Okay, yeah.
So like if I'm scalping this range, so again, like you see how like we reclaim POC for the time being. I don't like taking trades off the POC, just to make that clear, which I'll cover that in future videos. I don't like taking trades off of here. I usually like to use this as a take profit, but like you could technically be long.
But naked POCs, do you usually take a trade on that?
Those are really good levels.
Because they're usually scalps, aren't they? Don't you usually look for a reaction?
Yeah, well, typically, but like those are, again, like I don't, if there's other reasons lining up, I might take a trade off of there, but like those are typically like nice levels to be aware of. And they're kind of like, again, for Bitcoin, it's like, this is like, I want, and like you see your pivot, R1 pivot is right at this naked POC. I'd really like for like over the course of today, I mean, it doesn't have to be today, but like I'd like to come clean this up. Like this would probably be a take profit for me. So VAH, like your value area high, probably a good idea to take some off here. Naked point of control is like probably a good idea to take some off here. Wouldn't be surprised to see like a pretty good reaction, like to the, like I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of a reaction here. But like, so like I have a couple more take profits that I would, probably take a bit more of my position off. And then like, if I hit 47K, like if I hit this level, I'm just going to let it go. The rest of my position, I'll just let it go, because if we break above this daily, we're probably going up to 50, 51K. So it's like, I would just let it ride, whatever's left. But like already, like I've made good, like really nice money off of this trade. If I get all the way up here, I mean, I'm happy. So I think
you can't apply that naked POCs to altcoins, can you? Because Excel charts don't really.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, you don't have that info, right? Some of it you do. All the Bybit alts and stuff. I think like you have access to some of that stuff, but I don't really look at those for alt. ETH, I definitely would. Like ETH, and actually the funny thing is I don't look at that for ETH. But I don't really, that's like, to be honest with you, that's why I like trading Bitcoin so much. Like I get Bitcoin. Like I have, like, I don't know, I've taken so many trades, like, and like you get a good feel for, especially like when I'm sitting in front of my damn computer all day long, it's like you get a pretty good feeling for how price is moving. And like it's not like I'm looking at like Cello, for example, or Cake or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. again, like you trade in the same way, but like with Bitcoin, I just have a different like relationship with, I guess you could say. It's like I just prefer to trade it. I know how I trade it. I know like the types of setups that I really like. I know the types of setups that I hate. And it's just, I know Bitcoin like pretty well, you know, so it's like I just prefer, like honestly most of the time I just prefer to trade it. Like even though my name's Trade Alts, right? But like, you know, it's but I mean, again, like the analysis is the same. I treat this, it doesn't matter what I'm charting, it's the same trading. It's just I really enjoy trading Bitcoin a lot just because it's easier, you know, and in my opinion it's easier. Alts are very reactive, you know. It's like with Bitcoin, if you know your levels, it's the same. Like it's that's why like people get wrecked trading alts too. Like again, when I'm looking at when I'm kind of expecting there to be a specific like type of move happening on Bitcoin, I'll, in the back of my mind, I will try to think of like I'll be looking for other altcoin charts. It's just like my dot trade that I talked about, like why I took the trade, right? Like because they were coming down to critical levels at the same time, so it's like it's easier, you know. But when you're wrong on both. That's a thing, right? But like when you're right, obviously you see how that plays out. But I just prefer.
I mean, you can like multitask and do two trades. I mean,
it's really it's harder than it sounds, though. You know,
it sounds like that.
And
yeah,
it's
because
like,
if you try to do 3 or 4, it's like
it's like harder than it sounds, and you know, especially like I was jumping on stream at the same time, so it was like you know, I was like I didn't want to get too crazy with like looking at a bunch of different charts, but those were like the two nice setups that I saw. Unfortunately, I didn't see Sol. Like I didn't look, you know, like Sol would have been a pretty obviously like a nice one to have jumped into, but nonetheless. Not complaining. But I think I'm gonna wrap it up.
All right, thank you.
And if you guys need anything, just tag me in Discord. And you know, again, as far as like the Bitcoin trade that like I shared, I think I've explained it a bunch of times now, hopefully. Like, and you know, hopefully like you understand what I was looking for, why I was looking for it, and how like what my thought process kind of was like going through the trade, right? Like kind of what I was looking for, and like how I'm managing it. Like I'm, you know, like I literally told you what my stop loss is, which is still at entry, and like as we reclaim POC now, especially we start pushing up a bit, like I probably will move my stop up a little bit. I'm not like too worried about it because I already took, you know, took some profit. But like just to give you like a bit of insight to how I manage my trades, you know. Now again, this is like a scalp trade, like an intraday type of trade, so I manage it differently than I would a swing trade, you know. Just like then that's also why I went over Bitcoin to, you know, our like the Ichimoku from 11,300 move up like that. That's way different trade management strategy than what I'm doing here. That's way different. And it's much higher macro type time frame, right? So anyway, that's all I got.
Quick question before you go. A swing trade and a scalp trade or intraday trade, are you using different amounts? You're using less, or like for example on the scalp trade, or it doesn't really bother you?
Not necessarily. It comes down like for me, it comes down to like, and I'm not one of those people that like I don't use 1% of my trade capital on every trade. I don't do that. Like, it's all about the setup. It's all about the play. So like for this one that I just did, I mapped it out before it happened. It happened. Like, I was ready for it. I sized up. You know what I mean? Like I knew, like I felt good about it. But like if the trade setup, if like I'm entering a trade and I don't have like as good of a feeling, you know what I mean? Then I'll size down a bit. You know, it's all about like how well I feel there. Or if I look at like statistics, when you keep track of your trades, which I'll go over later on, but like you know, you should know about statistically how well those trade setups do, and like, you know, whether to size up or size down when those happen. But
Yeah,
like
just experience, isn't it?
from a swing trade though, like it's so like it's the same principle. If I get an entry that I think is like a decent swing entry, like I'll take the trade, right? If I get an 11,300, all the signs in the world are telling me, oh my God, this is like a phenomenal long. You size up, you know, like you're long, you know. So like, yeah, like again, it goes back to how well you, like how strongly you feel about your analysis and like the levels that are being broken and whatnot. When 20K, I explained this, I think in the last video, or maybe no, I actually was talking about this yesterday when I did, I was in voice chat. I didn't record it because it was just like a casual conversation, but I talked about my long at 20K. So like when 20K officially broke, I had a market order at $20,001 because we had already come up to 19, you know, it was like, I think it was mid 19.5 or something, got a nice rejection back down to 16.5, something like that. And then we pushing back up. And like when you're testing an all-time high that's been in place for 3 years, that is a massive, massive, massive level that everybody and their mom and their grandma knows about, right? When you break that, you're likely breaking it. And you're probably going much higher, right? So that's another long for me that I felt comfortable just sizing up real like big time, because the probabilities of you moving higher if that level is touched is immense. Like it's very good odds, right? So like I had a market buy sitting there and it hit, I think it hit overnight or it wasn't around, but I was at $20,001, and I think with slippage it filled at $20,047 if I remember. So like, and that was my, and then like by the time I got to my computer we were way above 20,000, you know. So it's like that's an example, you know. So like when you have high confidence in your trade, you size up, right? But like if it's just like this is a okay setup, you know, looks okay, I'll jump in, and it's like you're not sizing them the same, basically. Like, so
Yeah.
that's how I do it anyway. But yeah.
All right, that's great. Thank you for that.
Yep.
I think that's a good session.
So I'm out of here. If you guys need anything in Discord, feel free. This video will be available for watch sometime in the next couple hours once it's done rendering and uploaded to YouTube. And then, you know, we'll, if you guys need anything, just tag me in Discord and we can go, you know, or if there's anything insane that happens, like maybe I'll jump back on. But, you know, I just wanted to jump in here and give you guys an update mostly again about that Bitcoin trade, because that was like a really good learning opportunity. And that's something that we'll cover
I wanted to get on as well, but
extensively in the future, you know, because like these setups, like they happen pretty frequently with Bitcoin, especially lately. It's been happening a lot, but it's just, I just wanted to like cover why I took the trade and like what I was looking for. And like it was like we were monitoring it as it's happening for the most part, you know. So it's you know, like you guys had some insight to how I'm managing my trade essentially. So that's kind of like why I thought it would be cool to jump on. Anyway, I'm out of here.
All right, thank you.
Catch you all later.
Cheers everyone. Take care.
See you. Have a good night.